Hello everyone, and welcome to another tutorial in motion with me, Ryan Ewell, for the Africa Digital Media Academy. And we are going to be looking at some behaviors and animations with text today. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get some text, and you can do that by selecting this text tool here or hitting T and then going in, and let's just type our favorite word of the day, ADMA, hit escape, F7 to bring up the HUD. Let's increase the scale, why not, or the size, so we can see what we're doing here. Let's go even bigger. So we're just going to go in, and let's bring up the I for inspector, and let's go to format here, and let's increase the size even more, just so we can get it nice and big so we can see what we're doing. So, of course, the first thing with the library, if you go to Command 2, is under Behaviors. You'll see down here there's text animation and text sequence, and there's all kinds of things here where if you just highlight, you can see all the types of different things that in the preview here these behaviors will do, pop in. And if I take this and drag it over top, you can see it's going to apply that behavior. And of course, as always, if I select the behavior and bring up the HUD, F7, or hit I for inspector, it'll give me all kinds of different options, so you can really start to play around with these settings. So, there's a lot of options and settings. I mean, there's countless ones. I mean, there must be 100 or more if you check again the library. I mean, look at all these things. There's all kinds of behaviors that you can apply. So I'm not going to go through, all the different behaviors. I mean, that's crazy. But what I do want to show today is something that is interesting in the sense of it's not just these text sequence and text animation behaviors that affect text. You can also, of course, use basic motion, but I want to show off something today that's pretty interesting under the parameter. So here you can see under parameter, there's these different options. The two I want to show today are oscillate and wriggle. And of course, you can use these parameters for things other than text. You can use them for other objects, shapes, even values of all kinds of things. But today, I just want to show you how you can use wriggle and oscillate for text. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to maybe, stylize our text here a little bit. So let's just go to the inspector. Let's go to text, and let's do something like, well, I don't know. Let's maybe go to style. And let's add an outline. Let's change the color to maybe something like an orange. And let's increase the width so that we can really see what's going on here. There we go. Maybe increase the blur a bit. Let's do the width even more. And maybe let's just decrease the opacity just a little bit. Okay, so we've got some outline going on. Now, let's also maybe go in and add a drop shadow. So let's add a drop shadow. Let's change the color maybe to something that's more of a let's do like a red. Let's do red. I've decided red. Okay, so here's kind of a red, and let's scale it up so we can actually see it right here. Let's see here. Maybe like that. And let's increase the distance. And let's, change the angle so we can really see what's going on here. Okay, and maybe let's do some blur on it. And let's increase the scale even a bit more, why not? And the distance. So I just really want to show you so you can see what's going on here. Okay, so we have two things going on. We have an outline going on, and we have a drop shadow going on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the library. I'm going to select wriggle. And if you notice wriggle says, it says randomly animates a parameter over time at a slow frequency. So I'm just going to drag wriggle onto my text here. And as you can see, wriggle shows up. And if I play, you'll notice, well, nothing's going to happen. Why? Because we haven't told wriggle what to apply to. We haven't said wriggle affect this parameter. So let's go and choose a parameter. So if I bring up F7, because I have wriggle selected, you'll notice it says apply to down at the bottom here. So I'm going to apply this to styles, style, outline, and let's set it to affect, how about width? And let's really increase the amount so that we can really see what we're doing here. So let's increase the amount. Maybe even hit I for inspector so we can bring up in the behaviors here, close this. So now if I hit play, you'll notice that it's randomly changing, and if I just see how it's randomly changing the width, because I told it to randomly affect the width of the outline of the text. And of course, we can go and select wriggle, and we can even do things like increase the frequency. So now it's going to be even faster, maybe really up the frequency so it's just really crazy. And now it's really, randomly creating different widths. And you notice it's applying it to the width. So now let's stop that for a second, okay? And let's turn that off by just deactivating it for now. Let's go back to our library, which is Command 2, and let's go to parameter, and let's choose oscillate. And oscillate does is it cycles a parameter between two different values. So again, let's take oscillate, drag it onto our text, and of course you'll notice it's not going to do anything. Why? Because we haven't told oscillate what to do yet. So let's highlight oscillate, which we have, bring up F7 for the HUD, or we can select I for inspector, and we have to tell it what to apply to. So I'm going to go down here, apply to styles, and because I have a drop shadow, I'm going to change the drop shadow, and I'm going to apply it to the angle. And now you'll notice is that when we hit play here, the actual angle of the drop shadow is changing between two options. And if I actually increase the speed, you'll actually notice that it's switching between those two options. So I just wanted to show quickly that, of course, there's all kinds of behaviors in the library for text here, text animation and text sequence that you can play around with. But I really wanted to point out that in this parameter behavior, you can actually choose things like wriggle and oscillate, and there's some other values here. And when you apply them to text, or anything really, I just wanted to show you text today, but when you apply it to an object, you can then choose under inspector, you can choose what parameter to apply these oscillate, wriggle, other things to, and it will actually then animate those parameters. So you can really start to play around with text and animating text and doing all kinds of things with behaviors. And that was just a quick look at text and behaviors in motion.